Your nephrologist looked you in the eye and told you to eliminate every single drop of dairy to save your failing kidneys. And while they were trying to protect you, they accidentally handed you a nutritional death sentence. Most people diagnosed with chronic kidney disease are immediately placed on a terrifyingly restrictive diet, leading to severe malnutrition, muscle wasting, and a complete loss of energy. But the real problem isn't the dairy itself. The actual danger lies in the specific types of dairy you are consuming and the hidden mineral bombs lurking inside them. What if I told you that cutting out all dairy might actually be accelerating your kidney decline? It sounds insane, but clinical evidence proves that certain specialized dairy products actually help flush out uremic toxins, reduce renal inflammation, and actively support the healing of damaged nephrons. In this breakdown, I am going to expose 4 specific dairy-based powerhouses that challenge everything you have been told about the renal diet, and you must pay close attention to the very last item on this list. It is an ancient dairy fat that doctors almost never talk about, yet it holds the key to reversing cellular starvation in your kidneys without adding a single drop of mineral waste. Let us dive into the first lifesaver, which is macadamia nut milk. Now, you might be thinking, isn't almond milk the standard go-to for healthy people? And this is exactly where 99% of patients get it completely wrong. Almond milk is loaded with oxalates, which bind with calcium and form microscopic crystals that physically shred delicate kidney tissues over time. Oat milk is not much better, as it is often pumped full of artificial potassium and phosphorus to make it taste creamier for coffee shops. But macadamia milk is a completely different biological tool. For individuals with compromised kidney function, the primary objective is to maintain hydration without triggering a catastrophic spike in serum potassium. When your filtration rate drops, your body loses the ability to dump excess potassium into your urine. This causes the mineral to back up into your bloodstream, creating a highly volatile environment for your heart rhythm. Macadamia milk is naturally devoid of these high potassium levels, making it one of the safest liquids you can consume. But here's the fascinating mechanism that most nutritionists completely miss. Macadamia nuts are incredibly rich in rare monounsaturated fats, which actively reduce oxidative stress inside the renal blood vessels. Your kidneys are essentially a giant network of microscopic blood capillaries, and systemic inflammation is their absolute worst enemy. By consuming a low-mineral, high-fat liquid like macadamia milk, you are lubricating this vascular system without forcing the kidneys to filter out heavy metabolic waste. But do not celebrate just yet. The commercial food industry has a dark habit of ruining a good thing. If you walk into a grocery store and grab the first carton of macadamia milk you see, you might be drinking liquid poison. Manufacturers often sneak in tricalcium phosphate and dipotassium phosphate to extend the shelf life and improve the texture. The human body absorbs these synthetic phosphate additives at a nearly 100% rate, slamming your kidneys with an unmanageable toxic load that they cannot clear. To actually heal your kidneys, you must hunt down raw, unfortified, and unsweetened macadamia milk. When you get this right, you create a perfect hydration vehicle that flushes out cellular debris without triggering an inflammatory immune response. Moving on to the second nutritional weapon, we have traditional ricotta cheese. I know exactly what you are thinking right now. Cheese is supposed to be the ultimate forbidden food for kidney patients. And for the most part, that fear is completely justified. Cheddar, Swiss, and American processed cheeses are essentially concentrated blocks of sodium and phosphorus that will destroy a weakened renal system. But ricotta cheese operates on an entirely different biochemical level. The secret lies in how true ricotta is traditionally manufactured. Instead of being coagulated from heavy casein, authentic ricotta is made from the watery whey protein left over from producing other cheeses. And this brings us to a crucial survival mechanism for renal patients. People with chronic kidney disease often suffer from severe sarcopenia, which is the rapid and deadly loss of muscle mass, long before their kidneys completely shut down. Because you are told to stop eating meat and dairy, your body starts eating its own muscles just to survive. When muscle tissue breaks down, it dumps massive amounts of nitrogen waste directly into your bloodstream, forcing your already exhausted kidneys to work overtime. Ricotta cheese solves this biological paradox beautifully. It delivers highly bioavailable whey protein that stops muscle wasting in its tracks. But the true magic is its astonishingly low phosphorus to protein ratio. You get the vital amino acids required to rebuild your immune system and repair damaged tissue, but without the heavy phosphorus burden that accelerates vascular calcification and bone disease. However, this is where you must exercise extreme dietary discipline. While ricotta is a lifesaver, portion control is absolutely non-negotiable. If you sit down and eat a massive bowl of it, you will still overwhelm your nitrogen clearance pathways and spike your blood urea levels. The clinical sweet spot is using exactly 2 to 3 tablespoons of fresh ricotta as a targeted protein supplement, not a main course. Furthermore, you must aggressively read the labels on the back of the tub. Some commercial brands mix in whole milk and artificial gums that completely ruin the low phosphorus advantage. You are looking for traditional whey-based ricotta with zero added preservatives or stabilizers. When utilized as a calculated medical intervention, this specific cheese can protect your physical strength while keeping your blood urea nitrogen levels perfectly stable. Now, let us uncover the third powerhouse, which is traditional milk kefir. If you have been warned to stay away from Greek yogurt, you might be terrified of kefir. But avoiding this fermented miracle could be the single biggest mistake of your entire recovery journey. To understand why kefir is so incredibly powerful, we have to look at the gut-kidney axis. This is a groundbreaking scientific concept that changes everything we know about renal disease progression. When your kidneys are failing, urea builds up in your blood and eventually leaks into your digestive tract. This highly toxic environment completely wipes out the good bacteria in your stomach, allowing pathogenic, disease-causing microbes to take over. These bad bacteria eat the residual protein in your diet and produce lethal uremic toxins like indoxyl sulfate and p-cresyl sulfate. Your compromised kidneys cannot filter these specific toxins, so they circulate endlessly, scarring your cardiovascular system and accelerating end-stage renal failure. This is exactly where traditional kefir steps in as a biological rescue team. Kefir contains up to 60 different strains of powerful probiotics, completely dwarfing standard yogurts, which usually only have 2 or 3. When you consume real fermented kefir, these aggressively healthy microbes colonize your gut and physically push out the toxin-producing bacteria. Clinical trials have demonstrated that introducing these specific bacterial strains can drastically lower the circulating levels of uremic toxins in the blood. Essentially, you are outsourcing your kidney filtration job to your digestive system. But there is a massive catch that you cannot afford to ignore. Kefir is dairy, which means it inherently contains potassium and phosphorus. How do we bypass this danger? The secret is in the fermentation process itself. As the kefir grains ferment the milk, they consume the lactose and actually pre-digest the heavy proteins, making the nutrient profile much easier on the renal system, while simultaneously reducing the bioavailability of the phosphorus. However, for a strict kidney diet, you cannot drink a large glass of it like a beverage. You must treat kefir like a potent liquid medicine. Taking just 1 or 2 tablespoons a day is enough to inoculate your gut microbiome without triggering a dangerous potassium spike. And absolutely never buy the fruit-flavored, sugar-loaded kefirs from commercial supermarkets. Those are nothing but inflammatory sugar bombs that will wreck your blood glucose and damage your renal blood vessels. You want plain, full-fat, unsweetened kefir, ideally fermented at home so you control the exact fermentation time. By mastering this gut healing protocol, you drastically reduce the toxic workload on your nephrons. Finally, we have reached the 4th and most critical item on this list, the ultimate nutritional secret that I mentioned at the very beginning. This is the ancient dairy fat that almost no modern doctor talks about, yet it is a pure, clean energy source for failing kidneys. I am talking about pure cultured ghee, also known as clarified butter. You have been told that dairy is bad because of the heavy proteins and the dangerous minerals. But what if you could extract all the incredible, life-sustaining energy from dairy while completely removing every single dangerous element? That is exactly what the ghee clarification process achieves. The slow simmering completely strips away all the casein protein, all the whey, all the lactose, and virtually all the water. What remains is a pure golden lipid that contains absolute zero phosphorus and absolute zero potassium. For a kidney patient trying to survive a restrictive diet, this is the holy grail of nutrition. And here is the terrifying reality most renal patients face daily. Because you are restricted from eating complex proteins and heavy carbohydrates, your daily caloric intake plummets dangerously low. You are literally starving on a cellular level. When your cells lack energy, they cannot initiate autophagy, which is the body's natural process of cleaning out dead and damaged tissue. Your kidneys need massive amounts of energy to push blood through the microscopic filters. Ghee provides the most dense, clean-burning fuel imaginable. It gives your body pure caloric power without generating a single drop of nitrogen waste or mineral ash for the kidneys to clean up. But the biological superiority of ghee goes even deeper. Ghee is one of the highest natural sources of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that is essentially the supreme commander of gut health and immune regulation. Butyrate actively seals the tight junctions in your intestinal lining, preventing systemic inflammation from leaking into your bloodstream and attacking your kidneys. It also provides highly absorbable forms of fat-soluble vitamins, specifically vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is critical because it grabs the stray calcium that is dangerously floating in your bloodstream and forces it into your bones, preventing it from calcifying inside your renal arteries. But you must be incredibly strategic about how you deploy this fat. Do not mistake regular butter for ghee. Regular butter still contains trace amounts of milk solids, proteins, and water that can introduce unnecessary variables and spoil easily. And more importantly, you must source organic grass-fed ghee because conventional grain-fed dairy is loaded with inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids that will completely neutralize the healing benefits. You use this grass-fed ghee to cook your kidney-safe vegetables or blend it into your low-mineral meals to dramatically boost your safe caloric intake. By strategically integrating macadamia milk for vascular lubrication, ricotta cheese to halt muscle wasting, liquid kefir to conquer uremic toxins, and pure ghee for zero-waste cellular energy, you are no longer just surviving a restrictive diet. You are actively engineering an internal environment where your kidneys can rest, detoxify, and potentially regenerate. This is not about blindly cutting foods out of fear. It is about understanding the exact biochemical impact of everything that enters your mouth. The power to change your trajectory is literally on your plate. You just have to be bold enough to challenge the outdated myths and take precise, calculated action starting today.